Emmerdale's Cain Dingle sets out to destroy his marriage next week, as a special two-hander episode sees him lean in for a kiss with his ex-partner Charity. Reeling from his latest hospital appointment, and terrified by what his life will look like after surgery, Cain unleashes his fury in a total meltdown. Can Charity convince him that life is still worth living for? Cain wants to wreck his life before things get any worse with his health, our Emmerdale source explains. The side effects he could face after his operation would be life-changing, and Cain's already lost so much. He can't bear the thought that his marriage might fall apart. As well as his ongoing battle over the farm, Cain has far more serious matters to worry about when he arrives at the hospital for his pre-op appointment. Sarah Sugden can sense his reluctance, but she encourages him to attend a support group and hear the realities of life after surgery. However, when Cain witnesses one patient getting upset over his relationship problems post-diagnosis, he flees the meeting. The village mechanic is struggling with his own worries about Moira. Deep down, he doesn't believe their marriage can survive this. Cain is terrified the operation will change him too much, explains our source. His identity is tied up with his masculine self-image, but both the cancer and losing the farm make him feel like a failure. He can't imagine Moira looking at him the same way again. Later, Sam makes a simple mistake over the farm machinery, which sends Cain raging, and he storms off in a terrible mood. Worried about his bleak mentality and the amount of booze he's drinking, Charity follows him home and encourages him to offload, as a special two-hander episode begins. Feeling cornered and judged, Cain loses his temper and throws a bottle of whiskey, which collides with Zach's precious ale tankard, smashing it to pieces. Despairing Charity pushes Cain to open up, and he finally breaks down, but ends up trying to seduce her. Charity knows exactly what he's trying to do, reveals our spy. He tells her he's looking for a distraction, and begins reminiscing about the old days and their past romance, before leaning in for a self-destructive smooch. Will Cain come to his senses and realize his marriage can survive any setback? Or will Charity be forced to stop Cain making a huge mistake and find out exactly what's bothering him? The hospital corridor felt colder than usual. Cain Dingle sat stiffly in his chair, staring at the floor, his jaw clenched so tightly it ached. Around him, voices murmured, machines beeped, and life carried on as if nothing had changed. But for Cain, everything had changed. His diagnosis hung over him like a shadow he couldn't outrun. He wasn't afraid of pain. He wasn't afraid of dying. What terrified him was something far worse: losing who he was. Inside the consultation room, the doctor spoke calmly about procedures, recovery, and possible side effects. Cain barely heard a word. All he could think about was what came after. A life where he wasn't the same man. A life where Moira Dingle might look at him differently. A life where everything he'd built could fall apart. Outside, Sarah Sugden waited. She could see it in his face the moment he stepped out. "You should talk to someone," she said gently. "There's a support group." Cain scoffed. "I don't need a room full of strangers telling me how to feel." But Sarah didn't back down. "Just try." Reluctantly, Cain stepped into the support group. Men sat in a circle, sharing their stories. One of them spoke about losing his relationship after surgery. "My wife, she couldn't look at me the same way anymore." The words hit Cain like a punch to the chest. He stood abruptly. "I've had enough." And he walked out. Back at the farm, tension simmered. When Sam Dingle made a small mistake with the machinery, it was enough. Cain exploded. "What are you doing?" he snapped. Sam looked stunned. It was just a mistake, but Cain was already storming off, fury boiling over. It wasn't about the machinery. It was never about the machinery. At the Woolpack, Charity Dingle watched Cain carefully. She'd known him too long. Long enough to see through the anger. Long enough to recognize the fear underneath. When he left, she followed. The house was quiet when Cain walked in. Too quiet. He grabbed a bottle of whiskey and poured himself a drink. Then another. And another. When Charity entered, she didn't hesitate. "This isn't you," she said. Cain laughed bitterly. "You don't know me." Charity stepped closer. "I know you better than anyone." Cain's anger snapped. He hurled the bottle across the room. It shattered against the wall, knocking Zach Dingle's cherished tankard to the floor. The crash echoed through the room. For a moment, silence followed. Then Cain's shoulders dropped, and everything came pouring out. "I'm losing everything," he said quietly. Charity softened. "You're not." "I already have," Cain replied. "The farm's gone. My life's falling apart. And now this." His voice cracked. "I won't be the same." Charity stepped closer. "So what if you're not?" Cain shook his head. "You don't get it. The air between them shifted. Old memories surfaced. Old feelings lingered. Cain looked at her. Really looked at her. I just need a distraction, he said softly. Charity's expression changed. She knew exactly where this was going. Don't, she warned. But Cain didn't listen. He started talking about the past. About them. About what they used to be. And then he leaned in. For a split second, time stood still. Years of history hung in the balance. But Charity pulled back. No. Cain froze. You don't mean that. Yes, I do, she said firmly. Charity stepped back, putting distance between them. This isn't about me, she said. It's about you running away. Cain's jaw tightened. I'm not running. You are, she shot back. You're trying to destroy everything before it can hurt you. Her words cut deep. Because you're scared. Cain turned away. For the first time, he had no comeback. No anger. No deflection. Just silence. Charity softened. You think Moira will give up on you? Cain didn't answer. That woman has fought for you more times than I can count, Charity continued. And you're ready to throw that away? The room felt heavy. Cain finally spoke. What if I can't be the man she needs? Charity shook her head. She doesn't need you to be perfect. She needs you to be there. For the first time in days, Cain's anger faded. In its place was something else. Fear. Real, raw fear. But also, hope. As Charity moved toward the door, she paused. You've still got a choice, Cain. He looked up. Don't make a mistake you can't take back. And then she left. Cain stood in the silence. The broken glass. The spilled whiskey. The wreckage of his anger. But for the first time, he saw it clearly. He wasn't losing everything. Not yet. But he could. If he didn't fight. The next morning, the village looked the same. But Cain felt different. The fear was still there. The uncertainty hadn't gone away. But neither had the people who cared about him. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough to hold on to.